Alright, now I'm going to be making the hand for the arm. It's gotta be right here. It needs to be just a little bit bigger so you can tell it's a hand. It's just going to be a ball, a really small ball. I'm not going to have fingers, anything complicated. So it really shouldn't be that hard. I just want to make both of them and show you how I'm going to sew them on to the arms. I will not be sewing the arms onto the body until I have made the legs. I want to sew all 4 limbs on at the same time, and I won't be sewing the legs on until there's feet. But as for right now, I am just going to be making 2 little balls as hands. To start the hand, I first have to make a chain of 4 links. Then I have to turn it on itself to start the initial circle. So if we can remember from when I made the arm, to make a circle, you have to loop a stitch and then add another stitch. So if you watch what I'm doing right now, I just added a stitch, and now I'm going to loop through my circle, make the stitch, and then I'm going to add a stitch. That's how you make it into a circular shape until it's the size you need it to be. Because it's a small ball, I'm actually just going to do a single stitch. When I did the arm, I did it in a double stitch so I could cover more area quickly. Because it's small, I feel that if I made that stitch, I wouldn't have as much control over the ball. It's just too small of a piece to do such a big stitch. So I'm going to make sure I have more control over this by doing a single stitch. I have also stopped adding a link. I am exclusively just doing a single stitch. And each loop, I'm no longer adding a stitch, which is going to make it turn into a sphere and stop expanding outward. Alright, now I think it's a good enough circle. I'm going to start bringing it in because it doesn't need to be that big of a hand. It's supposed to be just, not too big, just to look like a little ball. I don't want it to come in too quickly and just look like a weird thing and flat. So instead of skipping one over and over and over, I might skip one and then not skip one and then skip one and then not skip one. So let me show you. I'm going to skip the stitch and go to this stitch. But I'm not going to skip this one. So I skipped one and I didn't skip the next one. So now I'm going to skip one, and then I'm not going to skip one. This way it's more gradual and it'll look more circular. Before I finish this, I forgot, I need to stuff it or else it'll be flat. I have a little bit of room. I don't think I have to undo some of the string. I think I caught myself just in time. Maybe I'll undo that one, because that one was a skipped one. So now I'm going to go ahead and stuff this. to kind of be round and then stick out at the end, that's okay, because that will be the part that comes in, so it'll be hidden. So now I've finished this, I'm going to make my cut. It's going to be permanent. I'm going to tie this off, make it a knot so it won't come undone. And now, my favorite part is to hide these strings in the ball. So I'm going to use my needle, my crochet needle, and I'm going to just push them in so that way they're hidden. To sew the hands onto the arm, I'm going to have to use my large needle, and I'm going to be pulling the blue thread that was still on the arm when I originally sewed it. I didn't tuck it in, that way I could use it to sew the hand on. So it's going to be interesting doing this. It's going to be a lot of trial and error. I'm just going to be figuring out how I can do it. Most likely I'm going to be doing a way where I can put the needle in on one side and have it come through the other side. That way it won't wiggle woggle. It's going to go through the whole middle, and then it's going to go into the other side. It's interesting. You can just watch and see what I do. Okay, so I'm looking at Supreme Kai's outfit. I finished his arms, and his pants are really ruffly, but that's going to be really difficult to crochet. And I also made his body really big, so basically I'm just going to have two little legs, just two little legs kind of coming out. And then I'm going to make him his red boots. I'm actually going to put a lot of time into making these red boots. I think they're really cute actually, and I want to make them look as accurate as possible. But as for his legs, they're pretty much going to look like larger versions of this part of his arm. It's just going to be a little thicker. But there's really not a way I can make these ruffles. So I'm just going to get started on the legs now. So I'm going to start the legs similarly to how I started the hands and the arms, simply by making a chain of 4 stitches and then turning it on itself. Now that it's turned in on itself, I'm going to start making it into a circle by making a normal loop through the circle and then adding one. So here I made the normal loop. I'm going to pull it through, and then I'm going to add one. I'm going to do the same thing as I did before.
Why are you naked?
What?
You're naked. Why?
Idiot, you don't take your clothes with you when you die.
Well, I did.
What?
Yeah, you even have my wedding clothes on too. And I didn't even dye in those. Huh, I'm lying, red motherfucker.
I'm now going to change my stitch to the one that covers more area. So I'm going to wrap it and then pull it through. So now you can see I have 3 loops. So it's kind of like when I did the arm, although I just now messed up on it. I'm going to, oh well, it looks like I got stuck in watching my Bob's Burgers or something, whatever I'm watching. I got stuck. So I'm going to wrap it 3 times just like that, pull it through the first 2, and then pull it through the second 2. I'm going to do this until I get the width that I want. Okay, so one thing I did notice is that on his pants, they kind of come in a little. So I thought, you know, I made it thick and long. I might bring it in just a little and then stop.
I might bring it in just a little and then stop. Just a little and then stop.
That way his boots will fit. I think it's what I'm gonna do. I am now gonna start a single stitch instead of a double stitch like I was doing earlier. You know, the double stitch is how I was making it wide. I'm going to start doing the single stitch, but I'm also going to start skipping stitches to bring it in. Not only will the single stitch make the circle tighter or the round tighter, but skipping one will make it happen faster. So I'm not going to skip one every time because it'll be too fast. So I'm going to do a single stitch, then I'm going to skip one and do a single stitch, then I'm going to not skip one, then I'm going to skip one, just like I did on my hands. Time for the stuffing. Now that I finished stuffing it, I'm gonna go back to a double stitch because my goal was to make it thinner at the bottom of the leg so that the boot would fit on. So I didn't just want to end the leg, I actually want it to go out a little bit more now that it's thinner. That way the boot will be able to slide on top of the leg. So now I'm going to start doing the double stitch again, the thicker stitch. That way it'll just happen real fast and it'll do exactly what I want it to do.